And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the only podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. I was thinking up, I was walking, let me tell you a little story. I was walking up, I just got home from work, from my full-time salary position. Walking up from the garage to my apartment. And I was thinking, maybe I should say something different tonight. It is nighttime. I'm recording this. Maybe I should say something different. Maybe I should be different. Maybe I should do that. I ended up not saying anything different. So here we are. It's constitutional. It's raining outside. Like I said, I just got back from work. Watched a whole bunch of stuff for work today. Watched a whole bunch of shows. Mostly Law and Order. But it's for work, I promise. All right, so new setup. Well, not a new setup. It's just a different setup because I don't know how much time I have. So let's just get into it as I do something on Facebook. Okay. All right. This story came in late last week. Sinclair is going to buy 21 sports networks from Disney in a deal that is valued at more than $10 billion. This comes from CNBC, written by my good friend. I don't see a name on this. This is embarrassing. Really, I truly don't see a name. Yeah, there's no name on this. Crazy. It's under the deals and IPOs section of CNBC Markets. So if you enjoy that, or CNBC, excuse me, if you enjoy that. Here are the bullet points. Sinclair Broadcast Group, which is, they're bad. They make all of their supposed to be neutral, non-objective local news stations that they own. It's supposed to make all of them supposed to be neutral, non-objective, obviously, like I just said. And they are largely conservative, which is bad for news. Not that bad that they're conservative. I mean, everybody can have whatever they want, but bad for news. Anyway, is the largest U.S. broadcast station owner. They've reached a deal valued at more than $10 billion to buy 21 regional sports networks from Walt Disney. This is from the Fox Disney deal. This is from the 20th century side of the new Fox or whatever. The old Fox, excuse me. New Fox is 21st. The Wall Street Journal first reported the news, which has since been confirmed to CNBC by sources close to the situation. The deal reached by Sinclair would include sports channels in Los Angeles and Detroit. Is expected to announce as early as Friday, according to Wall Street Journal. So this was last week, obviously. This is Thursday when I recorded this. Disney acquired the sports networks as part of the $71 billion acquisition of 21st Century Fox's film and television assets. So this is them offloading this stuff so that they can recoup some of the losses that they earned buying the 20th century stuff. This is more recently. Let me see if I can find New Mutants. Disney has decided to hold off on New Mutants, and apparently, let's see, the Gambit movie is dead as well. But this is from a website I've never heard of before, and obviously the Gambit movie's dead. But New Mutants has been pushed back. So Disney can do some retooling, and they're going to hold off on Star Wars for a couple of years. The company agreed to sell networks after the U.S. Justice Department said Disney, which owns the cable sports network ESPN, must divest the Fox networks that provide sports programming for regional and local markets. So this is, again, trying not to make it a monopoly, which I think is kind of crazy when Disney and now, Disney Fox, now Disney is kind of a monopoly in itself. Well, wherein I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned episodes ago that Disney owned 13% of the box office, which is not big, but when they have this 20th century stuff come in, it's going to be huge. It's going to have a huge margin. Now it's just like Disney, Lionsgate, Paramount. I'm naming movie studios. I can't think of any more. Universal, Comcast, man. Other studios for Disney's channels included Liberty Media, Big Three Basketball, whose management includes Jeff Quintet and rapper and actor Ice Cube. The potential deal for Disney Sports Networks would come after Tribune Media terminated the sale of 42 stations in 33 markets of Sinclair last year. So I guess they just wanted to fight back. So there you go. Disney recoups some of those losses. Next up, I want to talk about one of my favorite shows. Superstore. Very funny. Check it out. It's on Hulu. Watch it. Very, very funny show. This comes from Mashable. Thursday's Superstore was part of a pivotal Hollywood moment. Written by Proma Khosla. There you go. So I saw this, and I thought this was very interesting. The NBC is doing something called Female Forward Initiative, which I didn't think any of their initiatives worked because they did have a person of color initiative, and I don't think anything came out of that. They had it, I think they ran it for like 2 years in a row, and nothing came out of it, and I applied both years. I mean, that's neither here nor there. Cloud Green, the episode that aired last Thursday, was directed by newcomer Heather Jack, who has years of production and direction experience, but never helmed an episode of a major network TV show before this. Jack is part of the inaugural class of NBC's Female Forward Initiative, a program that gets female directors on set with experienced mentors and then puts them behind the camera. Jack is one of 10 finalists who had directed episodes of everything from Brooklyn Nine-Nine to Law & Order SVU this season after shadowing established directors on their prospective series for 3 episodes. Jack and other candidates met with NBC producers and showrunners before being assigned to a show last summer. She has already been asked back to return for an episode next season. Well, that's really cool. That's really interesting, and I'm glad these things are happening. 10 simultaneously feels like not enough, but also a lot because they're entrusting their 22 to 24 episode network shows with people, with women who have never done anything as big, which I find very lovely. Female Forward is entering a second year, and while similar projects exist, Jack said that directing as well as shadowing made a huge difference. And I think, shadowing is really, really important for somebody who wants to direct, and for anybody in this industry. I know I learn a lot whenever I'm on set. I try to stick with the people I know stuff and ask them questions, when the time's appropriate, and try not to piss them off, and just try to get my hands dirty so that I can know things when it comes time for me to know things. Jack has now worked in the industry for over 10 years, and she says she noticed a significant discrepancy between the gender breakdown at film school and festivals compared to working directors. Obviously, it's overwhelmingly male. I don't know if this is racist or it's not racist. But this is something I think about all the time. Especially with Marvelous Miss Maisel having won, all the awards these past couple of years. This past year, actually. I don't even think I won the year before last, or award show season before last. But it's very interesting to have, for Fight for Women and everything. But then a lot of these things that I've seen, and now this Miss Jack is half Asian, so that's great. But I'm looking for, for more people like her, more people of color like her to be in the spotlight. Whereas, for something like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, it's a like 99% white person show, made by all white females, mostly white women. I don't know. It's just kind of tough. It's kind of tough to see that. And, people are like, fight for women. And then secretly, it kind of feels like, just like fight for women, white women. Whereas, I don't know. It's just, you see backlash with Meghan Markle being married to Harry from, People. And you don't see a lot happening with, you see people get mad because there's a black stormtrooper in Star Wars. You never see people get mad because Captain America's white. Obviously, now he's not. Just ruin a movie for people. I didn't see it. I read about it on Wikipedia. But obviously now he's not. Now Captain America is Falcon. But that happened in the comics like 7 years ago. So stay up to date if you really care. Let's move on to the next story. There's going to be an all-female episode, apparently. This comes from The New Yorker. The Good Fight censored on CBS All Access. CBS censors The Good Fight for a musical short about China. You can't make jokes about China, guys. This is written by Emily Nussbaum. Last Thursday, fans of The Good Fight, the darkly funny Trump-era spinoff of The Good Wife, created by the married showrunners Robert and Michelle King. Very great people. If you are interested in writing and the writing process, they've been on the Writers Panel podcast on Forever Dog Network. Check it out. It's a very good episode. Or episodes, I don't know. The last episode they were on as of this 5/9/2019. Very good. Which is currently airing, barely, on the Locked Garden streaming site called CBS All Access. We're faced with something unusual. The viewers were. I think this is like, sometimes you read something and it's editorialized and you should think, okay, that's a little bit too much. But that was so funny when I read that last week. And it's The New Yorker, so I expected at this point. But I thought that was a cheekily pointed, not indifference, direct attack on CBS All Access. It's too many streaming networks, guys. I've said it all the time. A placard reading CBS has censored this content filled the screen silently for 8.5 seconds. To many viewers, it looked like a joke. It wasn't. So what happened was, during an episode of The Good Fight, last week, there are animated series. They're called Good Fight Shorts, written by Jonathan Colton, written and performed by Jonathan Colton. He's from NPR. Animated by Steve Engel, the co-founder of the Canadian shop Headgear Animation. But Jonathan Colton is on Ask Me Another on NPR, the game show podcast. So check it out. It's a very good. These are some very good recommendations to give you. And it's kind of they're kind of reminiscent of Schoolhouse Rock. Only reason I know this is because I've read this article before. I read it last week, so now I'm just trying to re-attain the information and put it back to you. Regurgitate, is that what I meant to say? And they made this this segment about, and I talked about China, right? It was China. It's China, right? It's China. It's about China. It's a musical short about China. I'll just read it to you. The segment had been fully written and animated, then vetted by legal and run through all the regular corporate oversight. And it was about China, and I think that CBS just doesn't want to piss people off in China. Anyway, CBS called it a creative solution after the Kings said that they wouldn't quit if they could just put this placard up. It said, CBS censored this, and it's their fault. 8.5 seconds of protest seemed like enough, after which they could cut back to the regular episode. As a result, many Good Fight viewers interpreted the sign as a satirical gesture, not a real indication that CBS had censored a forbidden subject. Okay, so what was the subject? The Good Fight had featured musical segments about the PP tape and the NSA, not to mention a moving, melancholic cartoon about immigration. As Michelle Goldberg wrote last week in the Times, the show had become a cathartic outlet for viewers traumatized by the Trump era. Set at a majority African-American law firm where, okay, hold on. Describe what the cartoon was. Colton told me that the censored song is called Banned in China. Full disclosure, Colton is a friend. It begins with a verse about the fact that The Good Wife itself had been banned in China in 2014, possibly in reprisal for a season 2 episode called The Great Firewall, which portrayed a Google-like company called Chumhum exposing a Chinese dissident to government torture. The next verse of the song is about the way the media companies censor content with animations of movie scenes being snipped out of film strips. So this is very important. CBS, I understand that they don't want the backlash, but they're a big company. They don't have to renege on things like this. They don't have to back down. I don't know if they have ties. I don't know if CBS corporate has ties to China. I don't know if we're worried about, pissing off the Chinese leader Xi Jinping. The main thing is that China's already mad. I mean, they're already mad at the U.S. It doesn't matter if they're going to be mad at CBS. What does CBS have to do This is all right. So this is the last paragraph from Michelle King. Michelle King confirmed for me that, quote, the cartoon was about American entertainment and companies censoring themselves in order to appease the Chinese market, which is exact, ironic that happened. That happened by coming from CBS. The Kings would not describe for me internal conversations at CBS about the company's motives for censoring the segment, but Colton said that the Network Standards and Practices Division had expressed concern that such a sequence would endanger CBS executives on the ground in China. Which, fine, I guess, but whatever. It's, the U.S. would do something about it, obviously. I don't know. Who knows? But that's just since, we're in America. We shouldn't have to censor. Oh my God. No, I'm turning into Alex Jones. What if this is like, what show was it? Oh, it's like the Teachers Lounge podcast. I'm referencing things that people don't listen to. Anyway, listen to Teachers Lounge podcast, but we shouldn't. CBS is a big enough company. Really, nothing should have been censored. If things are said every day on Twitter, and CBS is just trying to remain neutral. I believe, on Fox, on the new Fox, Last Man Standing, Tim Allen says stuff all the time. On ABC, he tried to say stuff. On NBC, the Carmichael Show says, well, it got canceled because it wasn't owned by the network. The Carmichael Show said the N-word. Network TV, and this is streaming of all things. This is streaming. Worse things have been said. I believe. What if The Good Fight was on Netflix? Would it have done this? It would have done. They probably would have gotten away with it. Well, actually, I don't know, because Netflix is all around the world. But they probably would have gotten away with it if it was on HBO. They sure as heck would have gotten away with it. And HBO would not even have said anything. They say stuff about that coffee cup and Game of Thrones, but they definitely wouldn't have said anything about that. It's just troubling that they have to censor themselves. That CBS decided it was best for them to censor themselves. Okay, final topic. This comes from Deadline, written by Peter White, my cousin. I was going to say good friend, my good cousin. E! cancels talk show Busy Tonight. Busy Phillips reveals end date and plans to shop the series elsewhere in a late night Instagram post. Very sad. May 16th which is next week, will be the last episode of Busy Tonight. Now, I want to say this before I start anything. I did not watch the show. I did see several segments, which probably make up an episode. I think Busy Phillips is a very funny person. This show, from what I saw, suited her perfectly. I think my main issue has to be with it being on E, and they ran it from Sunday to Thursday, I believe. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So they ran it to Sunday to Wednesday, which is a strange schedule. They wanted to do essentially a week thing, but it just doesn't make sense. The series, which is produced by Tina Fey's Little Stranger banner and Wilshire Studios, moved from its original 10 p.m. home to 11 p.m. when it returned on January 7th, a move that Phillips previously called a vote of confidence. The actress added that it was lame, that there would be just one woman in the late night at a time. The series will run 4 episodes this week and 4 episodes next week before it ends. Its end. And she's kind of right. She's very right. It is stupid that we can't have more than one woman in late night. When Chelsea ended, we got Sam B and Robin Thede, and then Robin Thede's show was canceled by BET. But we still have Sam B doing Full Frontal. And I think Busy's show was so different from everybody. It kind of felt like it was a sleepover as opposed to a late night talk show, because she would be out there in the comfortable clothes and dresses, and her wedding dress, I believe she did one episode, and pajamas. She would be out there and she would just sit on the couch having wine, and she'd be so casual, talking to her writers, talking to the audience, talking to the guests, whoever it was. And they had huge guests. So this is I kind of put this on E. I very much put this on E. I was thinking about this last night. I put it on E because it's their fault. You shouldn't have ran the show for 4 episodes a week, because I feel that would strain somebody That was strained in network. I don't think Busy was strained, but I think the network was strained. And I can hear the brass now. The executives telling the producers, okay, we got to try something different. Try something different. All right, we'll try something different. And the producers were doing as much as they can, but trying to keep the spirit of the show. Very sad. This show is going to end very soon. But you know what? Hopefully they find a different home. And what? Okay, Busy is hilarious. This is from an spokeswoman. Busy is a hilarious and charismatic talent, and we are grateful to the entire Busy Tonight team who has delivered countless laughs and heartwarming moments in what will be over 100 episodes. So they had 100 episodes, and that's the issue. And that was one of the issues I had with Pete Holmes' show on TBS, the Pete Holmes Talk Show. They did TBS, and this is at a time when it was the late night shows were still, everything on broadcast, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shows on broadcast, and then the Daily Show, and Larry Wilmore's show before that got canceled. And TBS said, all right, let's do this. And then Conan was on TBS too. So then TBS, so that's what is that? 11 shows. TBS said, all right, let's do this Pete Holmes Talk Show, and let's shoot it in bulk. There's no current jokes, nothing like that, nothing of the sort. And then they put out this show, which it's evergreen, which is great. The sketches were hilarious. There's a drunk James Bond sketch that I love. The Batman stuff, the X-Mutants, the X-Men or whatever it's called. That stuff was great. And and it was just Pete talking to his friends. He's doing a monologue, an evergreen monologue, and then he's doing a sketch and a pre-tape sketch, and then he's talking to his friends, and that was what it was. But they shot it in bulk, and he would be done for stretches for he'd work for a couple of weeks and then be done for a little bit, and they would just put out these episodes, one a day, and that's not how you run a talk show. Obviously, you should be doing one episode a day and make it that day or the day before, if anything. I don't know how Ellen does hers. I assume she only does them, at 10 a.m. every day. I don't know, noon. I don't know how fast these things work. Actually, I do know. So it blows that Busy cannot be busy on television. So they should have done one episode a week. Let's see. The Jesus and Miro, their show is being taken to 2 nights a week for the summer, and I think it's going to do really well. They're doing Mondays and Thursdays where they originally started on Thursdays. Busy's show should have been Monday. I was thinking about this, and I don't know if this is possible, but Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Monday through Wednesday. Not everybody has to do one episode a week, and not everybody has to do one episode a night. Last Week Tonight and Full Frontal prevail by doing these long form stories once a week. Conan, Seth, Jimmy, all the Jimmys, Steven, they do well because they're able to do what late night originally was and produce an episode a day, 4 days a week. Some of them doing 5 days a week, which I think is just Jimmy and Steven at this point doing 5 days a week. Maybe even Seth and James too, but I definitely know Kimmel doesn't do it. And then other people can do well with 2 days a week. And I know this is only the first week for Jesus and Miro, but they did a great job with their first episode this week, and I assume the Thursday episode is just going to be just as funny. Although I don't appreciate the Taylor Swift jokes. Taylor Swift's better than anybody they listen to. You hear that, Jesus and Miro? Desus. You're my guys. You're my friends. I hope so. I would hate to be on the other end of a verbal Twitter argument with them. A verbal Twitter argument. Here we go. Typing down the title. But what the lesson is here is who else? Oh God, what is his name? He's the British guy. I'm sitting in front of my laptop. Jim Jeffries. He has a show that's once a week, Jordan Klepper's coming back in a couple of weeks with a show. I should watch that. I should watch a show. I have the screeners. But here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to get. Let's add more diverse voices to late night. And more importantly, for those diverse voices, let's make sure that you're different enough to survive. Because we can't just come out here. If Sterling K. Brown wanted to host a show, and he came out with a late night show that was very, very, very tightly reminiscent of Fallon's or Corden's, then it would not survive. But if he came out with a show that was like Guy Branum's show, talk show, the game show, wherein famous people would come on the show, pimp their stuff, and earn points, and try to beat other famous people in that same episode, or Conan, cutting his hour down to a half hour and packing so much comedy into 20 minutes, or Busy sitting on a couch drinking wine with her new celebrity friend Anne Hathaway, or Sam B, or John Oliver, or any of these other people out there. Well, I just named all the people, Dacis and Miro, who are doing it different. Even Billy on the Street. Billy on the Street felt like a late night talk. It wasn't late night, but it felt like a late night talk show because it was him interviewing people and running around, and it was airing at late at night. The Chris Gethard show, different. It was different, even though the Chris Gethard show did fail ultimately. So let's get it. Let's be different. Let's put up a different late night show. I have a late night show idea. I want to do as a live show first. Obviously, right now I want to do it as a live show. I think it's a very funny idea. It mixes two show styles, reality show styles that I think are a very funny mix. And one day I would, hopefully before the end of the summer, I will put it on, and I will get working in a news station. I do have contacts to people who are very famous locally. They have like 7,000 Twitter followers. And people in the Atlanta area will know them and be like, oh, NBC. You're on channel 11, right? It's not even the right channel. It's channel 6. Hey, listen, if you like what you heard here, why don't you head over to web? Sorry, just had a stroke. If you like what you heard here, why don't you head on over to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where there's so many great things that the website is down, and it'll be up hopefully next Wednesday when I get paid. It's an embarrassing admission. And in the meantime, tell your friends to subscribe to the Constitutionals podcast, both in audio form on any podcasting service. Can you believe that? iTunes, check. Spotify, check. Stitcher, check. The rest, check. Do it. Tell your friends. It'll be great. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see a video version of the show. See me in all my glory. See me at this low angle that this GoPro was recording me at. See the microphone sitting in my face coming from the left side, or camera right, if you've been working in the industry like me. I thought about that this morning. I've been working in the industry for 3 years. The TV industry. For 3 years. On and off. Let's be real. On and off. Hopefully on for the next couple of years. No, forever, for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. I don't know why I just said the next couple of years. Please, God, please. That's not a joke. And on the YouTube channel, you also see the show News Time, which is a weekly news show I produce. It's like a daily show, but less funny. I take one story a week, and I diversify it. This week's episode is about something or other. I don't know. I forgot. It's been so long. I have to get to work on this next one. But with this full-time job, Daddy can't write it. I will. Don't worry about that. Thank you for listening. I very much appreciate it. You're the best. Thank you. One more time. Thank you. Goodbye. So stupid.